Well, it's here. It's finally October 21st, 2015, and you're probably wondering, where is my hoverboard? Where are the flying cars in Jaws 5 through 19? Why did Doc and Marty lie to us? Well, they didn't. Now listen, we all know that this is just a movie, but we love Back to the Future, so just play along, alright? So in Back to the Future Part 2, Marty, Doc, and Jennifer travel from 1985 to 2015. Here, we see all the things we dreamed of. Hoverboards, flying cars, and an 80s trend that just won't die. And you can get faxes from anywhere. Aw yeah. Seriously, what was with that? Here, future Marty has given up on his music due to a car accident with a Rolls Royce in 1985. He is married to Jennifer, with 2 kids, one being a brainless boy and the other a ditzy daughter. After they return to 1985, they see that their present is different, with Biff having become a millionaire. It turns out that the Biff from 2015 stole the DeLorean and traveled back to 1955 to give a sports almanac to his younger self, making his bets always spot on.
What's wrong with making a few bucks on the side?
This changes things from the 2015 that we saw, as we see in this deleted scene in the film where old Biff disappears. The future is now different. As I'm sure you've all seen the movie, I'm just gonna skip to the end of part 2, where Doc and Marty succeed and reverse the changes Biff made. Maybe. All we know is that Biff no longer has the almanac. However, we do not know if he memorized any of the game's outcomes.
Wait a minute. Cubs win World Series.
Or what his memories of the entire event with Marty chasing him on a flying board might lead to.
Whoa, this is heavy.
This makes a different timeline from the 1985 that we see at the end of the first movie and the 2015 that we see at the beginning of this movie. Now, at the end of part 2, Doc is sent back to the year 1985. Again, as I'm sure you've seen the movie, Marty goes back to save Doc from being shot, and Doc remains in 1885 while Marty travels back to 1985. Now, with knowledge of the future accident with the Rolls Royce, Marty avoids the crash and his hand is left operational and ready to rock.
Hold it, fellas. I'm afraid you're just too darn loud.
This, yet again, changes the timeline from the 2015 that we saw. Without a grumpy, crippled father, maybe Marty's kids won't grow up to be dumbasses like we saw. This possibly makes Doc's entire mission to stop Marty's son from being arrested useless in the first place. Now, here with all the changes to the timeline, you may be wondering how time travel and the butterfly effect works in the film. Well, since he's so superior in knowledge, I'm just gonna let Doug Brown explain it.
Prior to this point in time, somewhere in the past, the timeline skewed into this tangent, creating an alternate 1985. Alternate to you, me, and Einstein, but reality for everyone else.
So it may be easy to say that that's why we don't have hoverboards, because we live in a different timeline than them. And that's mostly true, but since we follow Marty throughout the series, that's not good enough. Assuming we live in the timeline Marty is in at the end of the series, let's look at why we may not have pizza hydrators and fax machines. Doc no longer lives in Marty's time and resides in 1885. Yes, he has a train for a time machine, and may make occasional visits, but for the sake of this argument, let's just say he keeps it at that and doesn't muddle with the timeline anymore. Doc is a great inventor, and no longer lives in Marty's 1985 to continue to invent technologies that may be needed for development of future 2015 tech. With Doc's endless resources due to his time machine, he no doubt would have contributed his findings and inventions to society, and seen it grow into the 2015 that we saw in the movie. However, this does not happen, since due to the trip to the future leading them to the past, leading him to the far past, he does not reside in the present anymore. Confusing, right? Add this with the small variations made through their journeys, such as Biff's almanac and Marty's crash, and the future we're left with at the end of the series is much different. So, without Doc's continued influence, we still have Pepsi Perfect now, we are working on hoverboards, and I'm hoping that we're on the cusp of creating some flying cars soon. Anyway guys, if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you love Back to the Future, here are a couple videos of recent that we recommend. Thanks for watching.
Mr. Sandman, bring me a